So this is a story about how I eventually got to polish these large slabs of petrified wood. It involved a lot of help, some tips from some very knowledgeable people, and a lot of failure on my part along the way to actually accomplish it. But eventually we did, so I thought I would show you one of the polished slabs here to start, just to see that I finally get there. Because most of this video is going to be about all the things that didn't work. If you want to see how the log was cut, please go back and watch part 1. And I forgot to actually put the history of the log in that part, so here's a bit of information on how I ended up getting this log to cut.
Around 1975, a man named Richard Subners transported the log from Arizona back to Canadensis, Pennsylvania, where he owned and operated the Pocono Mineral and Gem Company. Here it sat on display in front of the store until his passing. Then in 2023, my client in New Jersey purchased the log and transported it 8 hours north to Ottawa, Canada for me to process.
The first step after cutting the log is to stabilize the slabs, and for this we were lucky enough to receive advice from Terry, the polishing expert at the Russell Zool Company. He told us to use a product called Opticon fracture sealer, along with sand to fill in the larger voids. In this case, my client chose a garnet sand, which is like a black-red mixture. And the first step is to heat the slabs up to about 120 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, basically hot to the touch. And in the summer, you can do this just by leaving them out in the sun. And in the winter, I had to put them under a tarp in my garage and use a heater overnight to get them to that temperature. Here I'm just using a syringe to inject the Opticon right into a small void. If we were to sit here and wait, you can see that it just keeps taking the Opticon, so you have to apply it several times while you're working small holes like this. Here I am just applying the garnet sand into some larger voids. Finally, then the Opticon is spread out like in a full flood coat just to fill any small voids, which there are a lot. And it may look like a lot of epoxy has been applied to the slab, but 99% of it will be removed. I then use a manual polisher to do a grind and take down the high spots from the epoxy sand mixture. So this is after about 5.5 hours of grinding. You can still see the saw marks here. Anyways, I still got to take down probably across the whole surface another good millimeter or so or two to get rid of these saw marks. This is my friend and sculptor David Perrett helping me out here trying to level out these slabs with the manual polisher. You can see there's probably well over 400 pounds of weight on there, and we just could not get the diamonds to bite despite all the weight on it. So we had to look for another solution. It was about this time that I got my robot going, and so we set it up to mill the slabs flat and remove the saw marks, and this is my first attempt here. Here's a close-up of the saw marks after milling for a while. It took about 20 hours to remove all the saw marks using the robot. Okay, just finished the last pass milling. See, all the wire marks from sawing are gone. In total, about probably 20 hours of milling time. So this will get a light coat of epoxy. Now just to fill up any of these holes that are showing up since the milling, and then on to polishing. So here's the robot set up to polish using a what's called a Frankfurt head. That's 3 pads on it. And I tried and tried and tried and could not get this to work. I'll go over here what I tried. This was really frustrating. I spent months trying to get this to work. These are the pads. They're a variant on the Frankfurt type pad. And I started off with a metal pad at 60 grit. And the problem is they would work for about 30 seconds and then just glaze over. And I tried every different speed, more downforce, less downforce, faster, slower RPM, faster, slower travel speed, and just nothing worked. Eventually, they just glazed over every single time. I even programmed the robot to run over a concrete patio stone so that the sand in the patio stone would expose the diamonds again. And as soon as it touches the patio stone, it starts immediately cutting, and you can see it working. And then it would work for about 30 seconds on the petrified wood, and then they would just glaze over again. Then I would be left with scratches like this that I could just not get out, no matter what I did. While talking with Grand Quartz Canada, they put me in touch with their polishing expert, Franck, who recommended I find someone with a Fickert head polishing machine. The Fickert head uses a tangential polishing brick, and this is able to put much more pressure onto the surface. So Franck put me in touch with a company in Kingston, Ontario that had a GMM Italian-made polishing machine with the Fickert head. And here it is running, I believe, the final polishing phase. The operators there, Drew and Liam, were very helpful, and it took a bit of experimenting, but we finally came up with a solution that worked, and I'll show you that in a bit. We reached out to Abressa Canada to see if they had anything that could help us with achieving a better final polish. And they made a set of custom cerium oxide pads that we used in the final stage. And this really improved the quality of the polish on the GMM machine.
So 40, yes, 45, 120, 400, 800, 1200, and then cerium oxide.
Showing the edges here before polishing. Since this is all broken edge here and no bark, I'll do it up to here, and then there's the bark here, so we'll leave that and just round over the edge here. As part of that, I take off this yellow, I don't know what the mineral is, but it'll expose what's behind it, which is a lot nicer looking. So I shaped with the cup wheel, and then some more shaping and taking out the cup wheel marks with a 30 grit pad. You can see I still got some marks from the cup wheel here, so I have to keep going with the pad until those are all gone. what I'll do is I'll come in with this crayon and I'll mark all these. Make sure I go over them. One of the problems we ran into was with holes in the slab and the polishing pads picking up broken pieces from there and then dragging them across the polished surface, ruining it. Here you can see an example in the picture above. So the solution was to take the slabs back home and fill them with the Opticon and sand mix. Alright, so that pretty much covers everything that I ran into, the problems and the solutions. So I'll just leave you with some video of the finished slabs. Enjoy. Thanks for watching. picked up what was supposed to be the last two from the polishers here in Kingston, Ontario. And, just giving you a view of them here. Come out nice. These are the ones that had to get filled again, like this area. And I'll show you around on the other one. There's a lot more. So I'll have to blend in a bit here. But otherwise, all this got filled. Probably don't remember, but all this was open. And I'll just have to do a bit of touching up here. But otherwise pretty good. Here's 8 of the slabs. I need to go down and pick up the other 2 tomorrow morning. There are 2 large ones. This one just has some protective wrap on it. So leave that on. Great colors. See a nice reflection in there.